Hello once more from Before Your Eyes Information Forum. This is Martin Kagan doing a presentation on the US deficit for a period of 34 years from 2020 through 2024. Obviously, 25 through 34 at this time period are projections based off 20 scenarios, which can be seen in analytical terms as follows. There's the 20 scenarios, all done by economists, and this is produced by ChatGPT, as you can see here in flat format. We've got 2020 all the way to 2024. Deficit at that point is approximately 36 trillion, and then it obviously escalates as we can see by the different scenarios, and we can see an optimal option. Obviously, the lower the deficit, the better the situation. But now let's look at this same information in basic terms through Excel. And the Excel schedule is as follows: there's the 20 scenarios. There's the deficits per annum, consistent for the first 20 years. And then from 2025, there are projections based off those 20 scenarios to produce an image. We've enhanced that scenario as well by taking into account deficit reductions as a consequence of tariff increases and those recoveries going towards the deficit reduction, and so that we can see a composite image. This composite image is viewed three-dimensionally in the patented system of Before Your Eyes as follows. So we have obviously a complex array here. On the left-hand side is the actual combined deficit of all simulations of each of the 20 shown by color differentiation. And the deficit grows cumulatively by year naturally as a consequence of the natural effect of the deficit increasing. You can see over here that the best option visibly would be this one in blue here, reduction as a consequence of a contraction and producing that image. Down here we have this is the bottom right, we have each of the 20 scenarios with their implications throughout, all the way through to the 2034 position. As you can see, all the numbers are consistent with that image and linked to that. This diagram on the left-hand side is the delta interpretation of the same data, year-by-year delta, and we can see the changes that have occurred and that will occur as a consequence of our changes, where it uses the word frame, that is time frame. So this is 2020. There was obviously a large deficit spike at that point in time, just as we had a spike in the early 2000s. Here we have 2009, which is a 2008 impact of the COVID crisis and the enhanced economic stimulus at that time period. There's 2008, there's 2009 with the stimulus, and we can see each and every one of these things, and clearly we can see visibly the enhancements through certain of the stimulus packages or the options being played out, both positively and negatively. This one shows here debt reduction plan, -1 of GDP spending annually produces a good result. So does this one over here visually, and that's a discretionary spending reduction of 2%. And this one here shows an increase in the tax of +2% and its effect on the economy. Excuse me. But in essence, what we have is the ability to see this data three-dimensionally as opposed to the two-dimensional effect of the data. So once again, we're looking at the two-dimensional or single dimension. We would look at a schedule and try to interpret that. Naturally, you can read the figures, but it doesn't produce as equal a value. continuing from that point, we have essentially a deficit projected 2034 of approximately 57 to 60 trillion dollars, and the interest impact is obviously an important factor, which we will look at in separately. And over here, we've seen the different scenarios. This is the interest impact of those scenarios and how they affect each of them. These are the optimal choices that has been calculated by ChatGPT, and they tie in obviously with the visual calculation. And we're going to look lastly at ChatGPT's 3D rendering of the same information. Here's that's approximately $60 trillion, and the graph that represents the 20 scenarios over the same time period. So we have this to compare to this visual image over here, which is able to be interpreted dynamically and interactively at all different points and show us a seismic view of the data in clear and concise formats. Once again, thank you for watching and viewing this video. Should you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond. Martin Kagan, thank you very much.